Even though the WNBA All-Star Game is still a few days away, the anticipation has already produced enough drama to keep basketball wives entertained for the whole season. The internet and the world of women's basketball are constantly buzzing. New York Liberty point guard Sabrina Ionescu just made the internet go crazy with her hilarious response to the news that Caitlin Clark had conducted the first-ever trade coach in the history of not only the WNBA, but also American basketball in general. The women of the WNBA are having a great time in anticipation of All-Star Weekend. You won't believe what ICU said to one of the coaches who were traded at a post-trade press conference.
Coach, you may have been involved in the first ever coach trade of any All-Star game ever. Just want to get your thoughts on that in your mind. First for you, Leo.
They announced it? Yeah. That you got traded? Yeah. Oh, I got to go look at all that. Traded? I have no idea what the teams are.
To select the players who would represent their respective teams live on ESPN, the top 2 All-Star vote-getters, who also serve as the team captains for the All-Star Game, conducted a draft last Tuesday night. The top players in the women's game were gathered and divided between the captains of teams Clark and Collier, Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever and Nafisa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx. Additionally, until they added one intriguing surprise, the majority of their selections were predictable.
We have breaking news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star Game. This is something that you're agreeing to.
Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, 2 of Clark's Indiana Fever teammates who qualified for the All-Star Game, were among them. Even though Kier acquired Courtney Williams, a teammate from the Lynx, and Brianna Stewart, a teammate from the University of Connecticut, it appeared that everything was fair and that both leaders were happy with their selections, which ranged from the starters to the reserves. The captain's decision to trade coaches, a move that we're still unsure was even legal, was the highlight of the All-Star Game draft, though. She did more than simply select teammates. She brought in Sandy Brondello in place of head coach Cheryl Reeve, completely turning the tide of the match. She immediately revised the All-Star rulebook. Cheryl Reeve, the coach of the Lynx, went to Team Collier as a result of Clark's transfer in order to be near her 2 daughters, Courtney Williams and Nafisa Collier. Although having Kier play under her regular coach gives Team Kier an additional edge in camaraderie, Clark was quite happy with the deal that brought her Liberty coach Sandy Brondello. Coach Sandy Brondello reconnected with Sabrina Ionescu during the deal, despite losing her player, Brianna Stewart.
Brondello, come on over.
Whoa!
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina. So therefore, maybe Stewie wants to come on over to my team.
Whoa!
Let me know, Fee, you want to give me Stewie?
Speaking of Sabrina, Ionescu's 28-point performance was a major factor in the New York Liberty's victory over the Las Vegas Aces last week.
Real blank spaces that need to be filled. Phoebus gets free, lays it in, and the foul again. Ionescu.
Along with her coach, Sandy Brondello enjoyed the news of the All-Star trade. You may have been involved in the very first coach trade ever, a journalist asked Brondello during the subsequent press conference. I simply want to know what you think about that. In reply, Brondello said, "Is this the second time in history? Yes, my son hit me up and I was traded after playing for a while before becoming a coach. I've made history. This is fantastic. You can't escape me," she said cynically, which made Sabrina giggle.
Coach, you may have been involved in the first ever coach trade of any All-Star game ever. Just want to get your thoughts on that in your mind. First for you, Leo.
They announced it? Yeah. That you got traded? Yeah. Oh, I got to go look at all that. Traded? I have no idea what the teams are.
Second time in history now. Jeez, as a player. And I got traded, yes. My son hit me up after he goes, I've created history. This is awesome. I got traded as a coach. But look, I get to coach with Sabrina. I'm on Caitlin Clark's in Indianapolis. I mean, what a great show. So we'll go out there and have some fun.
The internet exploded. Although it was a humorous moment, it conveyed a lot of meaning. Playing under Brondello is something Sabrina enjoys. As coach and player, they get along well, and we've all seen her develop into one of the league's most productive shooters, setting records and helping the Liberty win crucial games.
There's at the beginning of their prime, Ionescu. Oh my! A logo bomb from Sabrina.
Ionescu's "You Can't Escape Me" remark was very similar to the famous "I am inevitable" remark made by Marvel villain Thanos. This time, however, it is a promise for another victory for the two rather than a threat to wipe out half of humanity.
Possessions of the day for Brazil. Here's Clark. Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo!
When you include Caitlin in that mix, Team Collier faces a significant challenge. One extremely risky and challenging squad to defeat. However, what was Caitlin Clark's motivation? Was it a lighthearted joke or a direct message to her current squad, the Indiana Fever? What does her future in the league hold in light of this audacious move? This might just be an example of how strong Caitlin Clark has grown as the WNBA spokesperson in just her second season there. Or perhaps she simply desired to perform for Sandy Brondello. In case you haven't heard of Brondello's magnificence, she's more than just the hip coach in New York with the hilarious Australian coach. She has led the Liberty to consecutive finals and is a WNBA champion, an Olympic medalist with an insane basketball IQ who went on to become a coach. More significantly, celebrities like Caitlin Clark benefit greatly from her mentoring technique. According to Brondello's style of play, she enjoys letting guards cook. The mechanism is actually designed to give shooters room to fire. Additionally, Caitlin Clark is a huge fan of her trademark threes, as anyone familiar with her would know. She spends days shooting from downtown.
There she goes again. Yes!
Not just shooters are permitted to shoot at Brondello. She also permits leaders to take the lead and creators to create. In essence, she hands over the car's keys to Caitlin. This is the reason Caitlin Clark is renowned for succeeding in schemes that prioritize fast-paced, pick-and-roll, and spread offenses, such as the one she led at Iowa during her undergraduate career.
How's she doing?
Yeah, full go today. So even, so that's great. Like I said, we escaped it, and she feels good. I was surprised that she's this good that could get in, but she went the whole time today. It's great to have her back out.
Over the years, CC has demonstrated that she frequently performs at her best when holding the ball, attacking the rim, pulling up from deep, or passing with accuracy while using screens to create space. Caitlin has not performed as well in strict systems with frequent off-ball movements and red-based reflexes during her 2 seasons in the Pro League. Her freedom is often limited by these kinds of plays. That's where the New York Liberty and Sandy Brondello come in. She is infamous for using a clever combination of defensive intensity, pick-and-roll inventiveness, motion concepts, and 5-out space.
Thomas, who were Olympic teammates, banging it down low.
All 5 players remain on the perimeter to provide driving lanes and spacing thanks to Brondello's contemporary 5-out system. Opponents are effectively forced to commit by this technique. In her coaching approach, Brondello also places a strong emphasis on mobility. She pushes her players to sacrifice decent shots in order to produce fantastic ones, allowing the ball and players to move until the defense gains the upper hand. The incorporation of the pick and roll is the final aspect of Brondello's strategy that significantly benefits both Clark and Ionescu. By utilizing her guards' decision-making, Brondello deftly combines opportunities for dynamic pick and roll with controlled sets like hammer actions and sideline out of bounds. Given everything, it's not surprising that Clark chose to push a trade in a move reminiscent of LeBron James. She wasn't merely stacking her crew for a single evening. She was sharing with the public a glimpse of her dream professional setting. Since 2022, Sandy Brondello has been Sabrina's coach, and the two have had much success in New York. Both of them won the title last year and advanced to the WNBA Finals in 2023. With a 13-6 record, the Liberty are now tied for the second-best record in the league with Coach Brondello's former team, the Phoenix Mercury. It will be exciting to watch Clark and Ionescu, the 2 best shooters in women's basketball, share the court. Ionescu and Brondello are also going to provide us with some amazing moments. The trade-off and Brondello's coaching approach will help more than just Clark. 2 ball-dominant guards, such as Caitlin Clark and Ionescu, might compete for dominance in a conventional all-star game.
Extra feed Clark, a deep 3. You bet!
However, with Brondello's offensive approach, this would not be the case. Both players' shooting skills and the ball's continual movement will allow it to pick the best choice. Both of them are able to refrain from stomping on each other's toes. On this squad, Sabrina doesn't have to be the alpha. She is a great fit for Clark as a combo guard because she can run pick and rolls from the wing, come off pin-down screens, and score off the dribble. And yet another explanation for why Clark was correct to make the exchange.
USA women's national team, they treated that shoot-around like a normal scout. This is not your normal all-star exhibition.
The coach swap might even be considered minor by some, but it was noisy. It conveyed a message throughout the league. I want to play in this kind of system, and I need this kind of coach. Numerous reporters have also noted that the deal was a subliminal warning to Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, as well as a shot at her long-standing nemesis, Cheryl Reeve. Clark's shooting volume and effectiveness have drastically decreased as a result of White forcing her to play off-ball in uncomfortable lineups, a choice that has been the subject of controversy and criticism on multiple occasions. On July 19th, Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indiana will host the much-awaited All-Star Game. The fact that the game is being held in Indianapolis should help Caitlin Clark even more, as the Fever supporters are anticipating a strong showing from Clark at home. Clark has returned to action after missing 5 games and weeks due to a group ailment, and he has played roughly 28 minutes for the Fever. Give Clark more food. 3 deep. You wager. The WNBA version should be much more entertaining than the NBA All-Star Game, which has lost its appeal due to players' lack of effort and the fans' extreme indifference.